Go inside the Crimson Tide with your hosts Rodney Orr and Gary Harris, keeping you informed on everything Alabama. And now, Tider Insider TV.
All right, it's another Tuesday night in Tuscaloosa. You know what that means. It's time for Tider Insider TV. Good evening, everybody, and welcome in across the studio from Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com. I'm WVUA 23 Sports Director Gary Harris as we continue to safe social distance. Alabama men's basketball. They're not safe social distancing. They're getting close to that trophy. In fact, they've got it. They closed out the regular season on Saturday in Athens against the Georgia Bulldogs. Now, things got off to a slow start, but the Tide eventually got it going in the second half and got their offense going and also shut down the Dogs. 5 players in double figures for Alabama, led by Javon Quinterly's 18 second-half points, propelled the Crimson Tide to a 10-point win. 89-17 over Georgia over in Athens. Alabama scored 59 points in the second half. They were terrible in the first half, couldn't make anything, but that's Bama. They caught fire in the second half and turned it on after not being able to make any three-pointers in the first half. They were on fire in the second half, so they got it done. They'd already clinched the SEC championship but wanted to go into the SEC tournament with some momentum. They've got 21 wins. They're 16-2 in the SEC. That ties the most ever with the 1987 team that won at 16-2 as well. They've won the first SEC championship in the regular season since 2002. And even though they didn't play well in the first half against the Bulldogs, the Tide was able to turn it around, fix their issues, and that's what good teams do. They took care of business when it counted.
Not coming out ready to play 100%. Just some bonehead mistakes in the beginning of the game, just being careless with the ball. And, I feel like in the second half, we took better care of the ball, and, we got the ball moving around a little bit more, and, obviously our offense took care of itself. So.
Yes, it did, and that's what is so good about Alabama. Everybody thinks offense, but they play their best offense when they're locked in on defense. And the awards are rolling in for Alabama basketball, as they should. Today, Herb Jones was named the SEC Player of the Year and the Defensive Player of the Year. Jones was also named SEC Player of the Year by the Associated Press as well, as along with the coaches, receiving 5 of 14 votes to edge out Arkansas freshman Moses Moody. Jones also earns all SEC first-team honors by both the Associated Press and the SEC office, and we're just getting started there. There you see John Petty Jr. joins Jones on the first-team All-SEC squad. Jaden Shackelford makes the second team. Joshua Primo named All-Freshman. And yes, is there any doubt? Sorry, Arkansas fans. Nate Oates is the SEC Coach of the Year, and he is deserving of it. Rodney, let me bring you in here. For Alabama now, it's the next step. They've wrapped up the first regular season SEC title in 19 years. They'll play on Friday as they get the double bye. That's something new, isn't it, for the SEC tournament? They'll play the Kentucky-Mississippi State winner. It won't be an easy game. It shouldn't. But would like to perform well in the SEC. And then, of course, they go to Indianapolis from Nashville for the big dance. Talk about this postseason outlook for this Alabama basketball team and what you think the Tide is capable of.
Well, first of all, you start look at this, Gary, 16-2. They tied that record from the 86-87 team, as you mentioned. I mean, what a fantastic feat. Then you look at all these awards. I mean, this is almost like football. I mean, Alabama dominating the postseason awards in the SEC. Nate Oates, Coach of the Year. I mean, just a fabulous season. But listen, still got a lot left to accomplish. There's no question about that. The SEC tournament coming up, yeah, I really think Alabama's a team that is going to be really focused heading into this, not only the SEC tournament, but as they continue to go on. And this is a great opportunity for them. And to really look at this, Gary, and see them cutting down the nets and celebrating and the things they did at Georgia when you're down by 14 in the second half, or rather in the first half, you come back and you win by 10 on the road like that. I mean, this is a team right now that's finding ways to win, even when they don't play well, find ways to overcome. That's what teams that have a chance to make a run in the tournament do.
And we mentioned the SEC regular season championship, the first since 2002. It's been even longer since the Tide won the SEC title. You got to go back to the early 90s with Wimp Sanderson. He seemed to do it every year. Alabama's the 1 seed. Arkansas is the 2 seed. Alabama wore them out here in Tuscaloosa, beating them by 31. But then they blew out Bama by 16 in Fayetteville. They're as hot as any team in the country. What do you think the possibilities are that Alabama and Arkansas make it through to Sunday and meet in the championship game?
Yeah, that was, that last game obviously on the road at Arkansas was, Arkansas has been playing extremely well. Alabama probably didn't play their best game. They had beaten them here by 31, I think, earlier, just a few weeks earlier. So You know, you could see that. Certainly you would. I think, listen, to me, the way the season's played out, I think that would be the ideal matchup, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I really, really would. Got to get by Friday first, though, and Mississippi State or Kentucky. Neither one of those teams will be a pushover. Well, Alabama basketball signee J.D. Davison wrapped up his impressive high school career last week at the HSAA Final Four in Birmingham. Now he's just a few months away from joining Nate Oates in the Crimson Tide in Tuscaloosa. Tider Insider TV's William Galloway has more on the five-star point guard and what he'll bring to this growing Bama program.
Once again, I tell them guys to hold their head up because we had an unbelievable season and we won one last year. I wish we could have won again, but got to hold your head up and keep moving.
J.D. Davison may not be a household name for Alabama basketball fans, but that won't last long. The 6'3" point guard from the small town of Lido Hatchie, Alabama, is part of Nate Oates' 2021 signing class, and he's the #1 ranked player in the state of Alabama, according to 247 Sports.
He's super talented. You know, with the way we play, it's fast and open. He's going to fit perfectly. You know, he's hard to guard coming downhill with a full head of steam. He's so athletic. He's almost impossible to keep out of the paint when you give him enough space. So when you put the shooting that we'll have on the floor and the way we space the floor out, I think he's going to be a great addition.
Davison scored 45 points last week in his final game for Calhoun High School. Boys Final Four. He's the defending Gatorade Boys Basketball Player of the Year in Alabama. He also hit a buzzer beater last year to win the state championship for Calhoun.
Davison pulls up, three-point shot.
Now that his high school career is over, Davison has his eyes set on Tuscaloosa and playing here in Coleman Coliseum.
I wish I can go like now as they playing. I can go play with them, but it's a great opportunity to play for Coach Oates, and what he's doing now is perfect. It's great for me, and hope to go down to the March Madness and win it.
J.D. was selected to play in the prestigious 2021 McDonald's All-American game, something his future teammate Javon Quinterly did back in 2018.
That was a dream come true of mine. Just being able to go out there and compete against the top guys in my class.
Davison's message to Alabama fans?
One thing only, same thing for this year. We'll be better.
I'm William Galloway, Tider Insider.
5 stars just on football these days at Alabama basketball too. Still to come on Tider Insider Television, one Alabama football player is making progress in his recovery, and he could be back in Bryant-Denny Stadium this fall. And the #2 ranked running back in the state of Alabama, I think he's the #1 running back in the state of Alabama. To make his college decision this Saturday, we'll have more. Plus, we'll get to your phone calls, emails, and tweets. As always, phone number right there on your screen, 205-348-WVUA. That's 348-9882. Or you can email us at TITV@WVUA23.com or tweet at us. Use the hashtag TITV. We'll be right back with more Tider Insider TV after this. Well, last week, Director of Football Rehab Jeremy Giselle posted a video on social media of Alabama running back Trey Sanders jogging on the treadmill as he continues to rehab injuries suffered in an automobile accident last November. Looks like he's putting in the work to get back on the field this coming season. Boy, does Alabama have some running backs. And welcome back to TITV. I'm Gary Harris, joined by Tider Insider's Rodney Orr. The 2022 recruiting class is quietly coming together, and up next could be Geneva County running back Emmanuel Henderson. He is the #1 running back in the state of Alabama, that is for sure. 5-star talent down there on the Alabama-Florida line in southeast Alabama. He'll announce his college choice Saturday afternoon at a high school gym. Grew up an Auburn fan, but the feeling is that Alabama's in good shape. Geneva County is a Class 2A school, but Henderson's coach, Jim Bob Striplin, says the running back has been timed in the 40-yard dash at 4.4 seconds, which is good at any classification. Rodney, again, we'll find out on Saturday, but all of the intel seems to be pointing toward Alabama here for a commitment, right?
Yeah, been hearing that for several weeks, actually, a couple of months maybe even. But what a tremendous athlete he is. He's 6'1", he's put on some weight, he's up to 197 pounds. Guy's got tremendous speed, you mentioned that, but just a fantastic, versatile athlete. I mean, a guy that can do some of the things like Kenyon Drake. You could put him outside as a receiver. You can use him at running back. You can do so many different things, returning kicks, all of these things. He's certainly very, very talented, very, very versatile, just a tremendous all-around athlete.
Well, Alabama just got a 5-star quarterback in Ty Simpson out of Martin, Tennessee. Could have the 5-star running back to go with him come Saturday. All right, let's talk about some softball. Well, we don't talk about Alabama losing very often, but we will tonight. The Tide lost 1-0 to South Alabama on Sunday in the final game of the T-Town Showdown. First loss of the season. You got to give Olivia Lackey, the pitcher for South Alabama, credit. She was dominant in the circle. Monica Fouts did her job, 12 strikeouts in her past 4 starts. She's got 47 strikeouts in 25 1/3 innings pitched, so she has been phenomenal. But Alabama does fall for the first time to move to 19-1 on season. Did you know that loss on Sunday to South Alabama was the first loss to an in-state opponent besides Auburn in Patrick Murphy's 25 seasons as the Alabama head coach? And now it's time for Coach Talk. Alabama travels to Auburn this weekend to begin SEC play. That's right. The Tide does not have a midweek game, so Coach Murphy and Alabama can give its complete attention to the in-state rival Auburn Tigers.
You know, the SEC, we always call it the second season. And this is a rarity where we don't have a midweek, so it'll be good for us to have 3 practices before we go down, and we're not going to go down until Friday morning. So we'll drive down Friday and then get to the game. I think it starts at 5 on Friday afternoon, and it's supposed to be good for all weekend, and we're looking forward to it. So it seems like we haven't played Auburn forever.
With this weekend series in Auburn, the two teams will meet for the first time in 2 years, since 2019. Of course, they didn't play last year because the season got canceled before we got into SEC play. Alabama will practice, as you heard Coach Murphy say, all week, won't go down until Friday morning for the 3-game series. And Alabama looks to take 2 out of 3 or maybe even get a sweep, although Auburn does have a great pitching staff. Ronnie, let me ask you real quick about Alabama softball. I'm not saying the loss was good. They'd rather be 20-0, but it might have been a good attention getter going into this series against Auburn.
Yeah, I mean, certainly could. You know, this is the way the game of softball is. You're going to lose a few. There's no question about that. And you mentioned the pitching. You run into a good pitcher, I mean, they can shut down anyone. So that just shows you the importance of that. So, no, I really I'm excited about as you start to hit the SEC play right now where this Alabama team is.
Well, Alabama baseball appears to be working overtime. This past weekend, they went on the road for a 3-game series at College of Charleston. They won 2 out of 3. They outscored their competition 29-4. That's dominant, but they did lose a 1-0 game on Saturday. Tonight, Alabama begins a stretch of 5 games in 6 days, all of them at the Joe. Up first, South Alabama. Tonight, that game is underway over at Sullivan Stadium. We'll have highlights at 10. Still to come on Tider Insider TV, the NCAA Cross Country Championships will be seeing a Crimson Tide squad for the first time in more than 25 years. And up next, we'll be welcoming your phone calls, emails, and tweets. Again, the phone number, as always, 205-348-9882. Give us a call, Tider Insider Nation. We want to hear from you next here on TITV. The Alabama women's cross-country team will compete in the NCAA National Championships for the first time in more than 25 years. The National Championship meet begins next week at Oklahoma State University in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this season has been very different. Typically, the season takes place in the fall, and the NCAA Championships are in November, but they're moved to the spring, and Alabama is a part of it. That's good stuff. All right, welcome again to Tider Insider TV, along with Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com. I'm WVUA 23 Sports Director Gary Harris. All right, we got lines open at 205-348-WVUA. We'll get to emails as well, but right now we are going to start it off with Harold over in Anniston. Good evening, Harold. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Great, man.
I want to start out. I want to talk about the ladies basketball team, man. I think Christy Curry has done a pretty good job, man. But I just hate to say I see teams like Ole Miss and Arkansas, Georgia, with younger, head coaches, man, and they're out there recruiting, and I guess they appeal to these girls more. I think we need somebody a little bit younger, man, out there recruiting, because we're not getting as much talent as these other schools are getting, and we're even losing the talent in state, like the Barker girl went to Georgia. She's just not recruiting enough talent, and if you look at the team, man, they didn't beat any of the top-tier teams in the SEC this year, even though they made they're going to make the NCAA. She's not going to go too far because she's like diminutive guards, and they're getting posted up down low so much, and the center is athletically, you know, she's just not getting up down the court as fast, man. We just don't have the talent. We're not recruiting as well as each other. What you guys think?
Well, Harold, I respect your opinion, certainly. And you said it, Alabama is going to make the NCAA tournament this season for the first time since 1999. It's going to be a 6-seed or 7-seed. Let's see what happens, okay? Let's see what happens in that NCAA tournament. I mean, I think Alabama is a better team maybe than you're giving them credit for. Yeah, maybe they didn't beat A&M. Maybe they didn't beat South Carolina. You know, maybe they didn't beat some of those teams, Arkansas. But they played a lot of really good games against tough teams. I took Georgia to overtime, and they won their fair share. You know, that's why they're going to the NCAA tournament. So, you know, I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you in terms of recruiting. I still think it needs to get better. But, Rodney, if you get into the tournament this year and you win a game or two, I think that'll help recruiting.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it's a step in the right direction, no question about that. And, you know, again, you know, some of the recruiting too, Gary, as you know, it's not always what you see in terms of sometimes there's stories behind the story, and some of this recruiting, some of the ones that they've lost. So again, I think that you know, she has brought in her share of talent, but again, I agree with Harold too. You know, it certainly could be upgraded.
All right, let's see what happens in the NCAA tournament. Just nice for Alabama to be back, okay? I think we can all agree on that. All right, let's get to an email. And this is from Paul in Gadsden, over in East Alabama as well. Will Brockermeyer or Latham start at right tackle? Well, Paul, there's some other candidates too. Tommy Brockermeyer and J.C. Latham, a pair of true freshmen, are really good players, going to be good players, I think, but you're making a lot of assumptions there. First of all, Evan Neal has to move to left tackle. He probably will. That has not been announced yet. And there's other guys like Tommy Brown and others, Rodney, that will factor in. But both those young men, Latham and Brockermeyer, are very talented. I'll give you that.
Yeah, 2 5-star offensive tackles in this past class and 2 of the top 10 overall players in the country. You know, certainly very talented. I think they'll both get looks at right and left tackle. Look, spring is a time for experimentation too. So you're going to see a lot of kind of combinations used on that offensive line to try to start developing guys for the right position, for the best unit that they can kind of mold together next year, that top 5. But I think Tommy Brockermeyer, J.C. Latham, T.J. Ferguson certainly going to get opportunities at guard and possibly even tackle for T.J. Ferguson as well. But, you know, we'll see. This is certainly one of the top offensive line groups in the entire country.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun spring. First of all, just the fact that we're having spring is going to be fun after last year. All right, more of your phone calls and emails are on the way. Also, still to come on TITV, Alabama rowing begins its season with the weight of some of the highest expectations ever in program history. We'll tell you what the buzz is all about. And as I said, more of your phone calls, emails, and tweets, 205-348-9882. I'm told lines are open right now, so it'd be an excellent opportunity for you to get through and talk with us. 205-348-9882. We'll be right back with the show that takes you inside the Crimson Tide, Tider Insider TV. Men rowing had a regatta, first one in over a year, as they hit the water of the White Warrior River on Saturday, hosting Eastern Michigan. The Crimson Tide enter the 2021 season ranked, and it's also the highest ranking in program history, as they came in at 16, their previous high ranking being 18. As for Saturday, Alabama showed that they're deserving of that ranking as they went on to sweep Eastern Michigan in every event. Their 2 varsity 4+ boats came in ahead of Eastern Michigan's, as did their 3 varsity 8+ boats. The Crimson Tide will head to Tennessee this upcoming weekend for the Oak Ridge Cardinal Invitational. Well, we'll be back on the White Warrior on March the 20th. We're going to be back on the phone lines right now with Rick down in Brent. Good evening, Rick.
Hey, how are y'all tonight?
Doing great, buddy.
We're great. I was wondering, can a senior play again next year in basketball because of COVID, like football? And why do we have Kentucky every single time in our bracket in the SEC tournament?
Well, Rick, it's my understanding that seniors could return for another year if they so choose. I don't think that's going to happen at Alabama. I'm confident that Herb Jones and John Petty Jr. are both going to take their shot playing pro basketball, hopefully in the NBA. I don't think Alex Reese is going to return either. But those 3 seniors, man, they've been the glue this season for that team, Rodney. And as far as drawing Kentucky, you know, it's just the luck. And I'll say this. This is first time in a long time, Rod, that Alabama's the power team. Kentucky is the weaker team. So, and nothing against Kentucky. I respect them a lot. Like you have to respect Alabama in football. But Alabama's better than Kentucky this year, Rodney. They've already proven that.
They have. And, you know, again, though, I understand his point. I know you do as well. I mean, anytime you're this is a program, Kentucky, it's obviously got a tremendous amount of pride. You know, and then it's been hurt this year. There's no question about that. So, you know, they're focused on this SEC tournament. Certainly would like to kind of make amends for what happened in the regular season. But I'm with you, Gary. I kind of like Alabama in that matchup.
All right. We're out of time for more phone calls and emails. And we have a sad note. Former Alabama Crimson Tide and NFL and USFL offensive lineman Bill Searcy, number 69 in this video, passed away on Monday at the age of 63 after a battle with cancer. The cancer came back, and man, I really got to know Bill well. He'd been through a lot in his life, but was in a remarkably good place the last few years and was an inspiration to many. Of course, he played on the 1978 and 79 national championship teams. And Rodney, I know you knew Bill as well, and
great guy.
You know, we're gonna miss him.
Yeah, fantastic. There's no question about that. You know, and Bill, as you mentioned, Gary certainly had strong faith, was a strong Christian, had an opportunity to spend some time with him, and an inspiring story.
All right, we'll be back after this. The University of Alabama is set to host the NWBA Collegiate Wheelchair Basketball National Championships March 12th and 13th in Stryon Harden Arena. The men's and women's teams will play over the 2 days to decide the national champion. The men will play in a traditional bracket style, while the women will compete against the University of Texas at Arlington in a best 2 of 3. Of course, if you followed me, you know I've been a big proponent of wheelchair basketball for a long time. Used to do play-by-play for it. I love it. It's a great event. Get out there this weekend. Support those teams, and you'll enjoy it. It's terrific competition. That's going to do it for the program. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget, if you missed it, you can catch a replay tonight at 10:30 after the news at 10, or find it anytime online at WVOA23.com or at TiderInsider.com. Speaking of TiderInsider.com, for Rodney, I'm Gary Harris. Thanks for watching, everybody. Good night.